She said come 14 times. I counted. I was standing at the edge of a dog park in Austin watching a woman, kind, patient, clearly loves her dog, call her dog back from the fence. Come here, Bailey, come on. Bailey, come here, Bailey. The dog glanced at her once, then went back to sniffing the fence post. And here's the thing, Bailey wasn't being stubborn. Bailey wasn't blowing her off. Bailey was doing exactly what she had been trained to do. She had been trained that the word come is the opening note of a very long song, and the song ends somewhere around repetition 12 or 13, at which point a treat appears. That's not a recall problem. That's not a behavioral problem. That's a communication problem, and it is the most common, most invisible, and most fixable problem in dog training. Most owners repeat commands and call it training. Professional trainers do something completely different. They build clarity. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that means and how to do it yourself, starting today. Here's what I need you to sit with for the next few minutes. Everything you are about to hear is going to feel obvious in hindsight. You're going to watch the examples, you are going to hear the explanation, and you are going to think, wait, of course. Why did nobody just say this? And then you are going to feel a little frustrated with yourself because you are going to realize that most of what you've been doing with your dog, the repetition, the raised voice, the escalating, frustration wasn't a training method. It was noise. But here's what I also need you to hear. It is not your fault. The way most of us are taught to train dogs almost guarantees this pattern. Repeat until compliant. Louder means more serious. More times equals more training. None of that is true. And by the end of this video, you'll understand why, and more importantly, you'll have a completely different framework for how to talk to your dog. One that actually works. One that changes the relationship, not just the behavior. Let us talk about why repetition is so seductive as a training strategy. When you say sit, and your dog eventually sits, even after 6 repetitions, your brain logs that as, I said sit, the dog sat. The repetitions in the middle get edited out. You feel successful. Your dog got the behavior. What's the problem? The problem is what your dog logged. Your dog logged. The sequence is sit, 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 and then I sit, and then I get a treat. This is called learned irrelevance, a concept from behavioral science that describes what happens when a stimulus is presented so repeatedly, and so inconsistently, that the brain learns to filter it out. The word stops being a signal. It becomes wallpaper. And here's what makes it insidious. The more repetitions you've done, the deeper the pattern is encoded. A dog who's heard sit said 50 times in a row across 100 sessions doesn't have a weak sit. They have a very strong wait for repetition 7. You are not failing to train your dog. You are training them, just training them to wait you out. This shows up everywhere, not just in recall. Down, 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 Leave it, hey, leave it. Heel, buster, heel. Every repetition is a deposit in the wrong account. And the voice escalation, that's even more damaging. When you say come at normal volume and nothing happens, then come louder and the dog responds, you've just taught your dog that the first version was optional and the second version was the real command. You haven't taught come, you've taught come, all caps. And every time you use the quiet version without follow-through, you are eroding it. Understanding this is step 1. Because once you see it clearly, you cannot unsee it. And you'll never accidentally repeat a command the same way again. So if repetition is the problem, clarity is the solution. But what does clarity actually mean? It doesn't mean being firmer. It doesn't mean being louder. It doesn't mean being stricter. Clarity means one cue reliably predicts one outcome every single time. That's it. That's the whole concept. But unpacking what reliably means is where all the work lives. Think about a traffic light. You stop at a red light not because red is scary, not because you've been punished for running it, but because in your experience, red has always and only meant stop. The signal is clean. There's no ambiguity. You do not need to think about it. The decision happens automatically because the pattern is airtight. That's what we are building when we build clear dog commands. an airtight pattern. A signal so clean and so consistent that the dog doesn't evaluate it. They just respond to it, the way you respond to a red light. Now here's what makes this harder than it sounds. Building that airtight pattern requires every interaction with that cue to be consistent. Every single one. And most of us, if we are being honest, are wildly inconsistent. We say down when we mean off the couch, and down when we mean lie down. We use come when we are happy and come when we are furious, and we are puzzled when the dog seems uncertain about which energy to respond to. Your dog is not confused. Your dog is accurately reading a confused set of signals. This is why professional trainers seem almost magical with dogs they've just met. It's not that they have some special authority. It's that they've spent years training themselves to be consistent, clear, and immediate. The dog responds to them not because of who they are, but because of how they communicate. And that's learnable. It's not a talent, it's a skill. And the next section breaks down exactly how to build it. Building clarity comes down to three things working together. I call them the 3 pillars of clear dog commands: timing, consistency, and criteria. Every training failure I've ever seen, in thousands of sessions across hundreds of dogs, traces back to a weakness in at least one of these 3 areas. Pillar 1, timing. Your dog lives in a very tight time window. The behavioral research on this is pretty unambiguous. The consequence of a behavior needs to arrive within 1 to 2 seconds for the dog to make a clear connection between action and outcome. Not 5 seconds, not 10 seconds, 1 to 2. This means if your dog sits and you spend 4 seconds untangling the treat pouch, you might be rewarding the sniff they just took, or the weight shift, or nothing in particular. The treat lands, the dog feels good, and the training connection was fuzzy at best. Timing is the hardest pillar to master because it requires you to be ready before the behavior happens. Treat accessible, eyes on the dog, reward moving the instant the criterion is met. This is why clicker training exists. The click is a bridging signal, a precise, instant marker that says, yes, that, right there, and gives you an extra half-second to deliver the reward. You do not need a clicker for everything, but you do need to take timing seriously. Pillar 2, consistency. Same word, same gesture, same criteria, every time, across every person in the household. This one sounds obvious until you actually try it. Down and lie down and go down cannot all mean the same thing. Off and down cannot both mean get off the couch. Come and come here and get over here cannot be interchangeable. Pick one word per behavior. Write them down if you have to. Put them on the refrigerator. The single greatest source of training confusion in family dogs is not a lack of training. It is that 4 people are each training a different dog without realizing it. Pillar 3, criteria. This means knowing, precisely before you ask, what you are asking for. Sit should mean rear on the floor, 4 paws still, holding position until released. Not sort of folded down while moving toward me. Not started to sit but then stood back up. If your criteria are fuzzy, your dog's response will be fuzzy. And you'll find yourself in the classic trap of rewarding approximations until the behavior completely falls apart. Define the behavior in writing if you need to. Draw a picture of it. Know exactly what you are looking for. Because you cannot mark what you cannot see, and you cannot see what you haven't defined. Here's where we get practical. Because understanding the theory is step 1. But changing the pattern in your body, in your reflexes, in the moment when your dog isn't doing what you need them to do, that requires deliberate practice. This is what I call the 1 cue drill, and it is the single fastest way to rebuild a cue that's been diluted by repetition. Here's how it works. Choose one behavior your dog technically knows. Sit is perfect. You're not teaching anything new, you are retraining the responsiveness. Say the cue once, one time. Quietly, clearly once, wait 3 seconds, do not repeat, do not lean in, do not show the treat, do not make a face. Just wait, eyes soft, body neutral. If they respond within 3 seconds, big reward. Enthusiastic, make it worth their while. You want that one cue response to feel like hitting a jackpot. If they do not respond, do not repeat the cue. Instead, gently and wordlessly guide them into position with a hand lure. No frustration, no drama, no repetition. Then reset. Step away, wait 15 seconds, and try again. Do this 10 repetitions twice a day for 1 week. Most people see a meaningful difference in 3 to 4 days. Not because the dog learned a new behavior, the dog already knew the behavior. What changed is the value of the signal. The cue goes from wallpaper to a real, high-value piece of information. The one cue drill doesn't just train your dog. It trains you to stop repeating, and that's often the harder half of the equation. One important note: if sit has been so thoroughly diluted that it gets 0 response consistently, consider retiring that word entirely and building a new cue from scratch. Perch, base, park, anything your dog has no history with. A clean slate is sometimes easier than a renovation. I want to tell you about a dog named Mia. Mia was a 2-year-old dog, and her owner, a woman named Priya, had been working with her for nearly 18 months by the time she reached out to me. Priya had tried everything: 3 different trainers, 2 online courses, a prong collar she'd felt terrible about and thrown away, a gentle leader, treats, no treats, more treats. Mia could sit. She could down. She'd pass a basic obedience test on a good day. But the second they were in public, at the park, on the street, near other dogs, it was like all the training evaporated. Every command took 5 repetitions minimum. Every recall was a negotiation. Every walk felt like a battle. Priya told me in our first session, "I feel like she doesn't respect me." And I had to gently push back on that because respect wasn't the issue. Clarity was the issue. Mia had never been given clean signals. Every cue had always come in multiples. There had always been a chance to wait and see if maybe this time nothing would happen. Mia wasn't disrespecting Priya. Mia was operating rationally inside a communication system that had never been built with precision. We spent 4 weeks working together. We didn't teach Mia a single new behavior. We rebuilt every cue she already knew, 1 repetition at a time, with sharp timing, consistent language, and crystal clear criteria. By week 3, Mia's recall had transformed. Not because Mia changed, because Priya changed. She learned to give 1 cue, mean it, and follow through with complete consistency. The signals became trustworthy. And the moment Mia understood that every cue was real information, not the start of a negotiation, the whole relationship shifted. Priya called me after their first successful off-leash park session and said something I think about all the time. "I didn't know I'd been teaching her not to listen. I thought I was being patient. I was just being unclear." That's it. That's the whole thing, right there. At the beginning of this video, I showed you a woman at a dog park saying, "Come," 14 times while her dog sniffed a fence post. I want to come back to that scene now, because I want to tell you what I would have told her if I'd walked over and introduced myself. I wouldn't have told her to train harder. I wouldn't have told her to be more consistent yet. I would have told her this: Bailey is not broken. Bailey is not stubborn. Bailey is not dominant or distracted or disrespectful. Bailey is a highly intelligent animal who has learned, through thousands of repetitions, that the word "come" is not real information. It's the beginning of a conversation that ends somewhere around repetition 12. And Bailey has learned this because that's exactly what you, with total good intentions, with genuine love, with everything you had, have taught her. And then I would have told her, this is fixable. Completely, quickly, permanently fixable. Not through stricter rules or more repetitions or a different collar. Through clarity. Through 1 cue, 1 response, 1 consequence. Every time. Starting with the very next interaction. That's the answer to the question that opened this video. That's the answer to why will not my dog listen. It's not about listening. It's about the quality of what you are saying. Clean signals get clean responses. Noisy signals get noise back. And the beautiful thing, the thing Priya discovered, the thing Bailey's owner can discover, the thing you can discover starting today, is that clarity is free. It costs nothing except intention. If something clicked for you today, If you recognized Bailey's owner in yourself, or if you are already thinking about which cues in your dog's vocabulary have been worn down by repetition, then I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Tell me, which command do you think has been most diluted? Come, stay, leave it. I read every comment, and your answer is going to directly shape what I make next. And if you want to go deeper on this, specifically how to rebuild a cue that's been thoroughly eroded, including the exact protocol for retiring a poisoned command and introducing a clean replacement, that full walkthrough is linked right here. It's the natural next step after everything we covered today. There's also a free one-page cheat sheet for the 1Q drill in the description. Timers, criteria checklists, household consistency worksheet included. Take it, use it, share it with whoever else in your home trains your dog. Because the drill only works if everyone in the house is running the same program. See you in the next one. By focusing on clarity, you can create a strong foundation for your dog's training and achieve better results. Whether you are a seasoned trainer or a new owner, understanding the importance of clarity can make all the difference in your dog's learning and behavior.